Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. Hugh here, the Builder's Office. The Builder's Office is a podcast specifically for homeowners and homeowners to be able to get the most relevant information to be able to make sure that their project is completed in the best way possible. And you get the best experience because really at the end of the day, building a home, it's an experience. So let's get started. Episode number 27. Problems with building. Now, I was having a little bit of a think over the past couple of weeks, just with the discussions that I've been having specifically surrounding are builders dishonest? I've discussed that a little bit in depth, and yes, there are definitely merits for both sides of the equation on dishonesty and all that sort of thing, but we've discussed that. I might come back to it at some stage in the future, but not right now. The problems with building. So I've got my little list. I'm going to be going through this and we're going to be discussing some of these. So, fun stuff. I talk about getting a job to run smoothly, but really, what is smoothly? That's one thing. Are we talking costs on projects or are we talking about running the projects? What is smoothly? So we go through some of this. And I do apologize if you're watching this on YouTube and the video is a little bit crappy. I buggered up my gimbal on the way to record this, so I do apologise for that. And if my arm does get a little bit sore from holding this up, I might swap it around, go to my other arm, and it might be a bit jumpy, fidgety, but I will do my best. So, getting a job run smoothly. There's so many different things that come into it for smoothly. So what's smoothly? Is it going to be it running to budget? Is it going to be running on time? Is it going to be no issues with the build? Is it going to be making sure that the quality is okay and there's no defects? There's so many different things that come into it. And just walking around the project at the moment, it might be things like making sure that walls are straight, so there's a quality control thing. Do you guys have quality control measures in place? And we go through a lot of those different things. So what is smoothly? And smoothly, so many different things. And I hope that we can discuss what a project is like smoothly in the future. Because at the end of the day, we know that, well, I know 99% of projects aren't going to be run perfectly, or what we would determine as being perfectly. That means that from the time of signing a contract, that within the time period that's sort of specified, okay, well, the building permit's going to take 2 weeks, so the time periods are going to be met. So 2 weeks to get a permit, or to ensure that a permit's done, and then we start on site within a week after that, and you start breaking ground sort of a week after that. Doesn't necessarily always work like that because getting things lined up might not necessarily always be able to be achieved perfectly. So it's one of those fun little things. What is smoothly? I hope that we can all discuss that sort of thing, and your builder should be able to have that conversation with you about what's going to be the timelines, what's going to be smoothly, and really definitely ask the question, what's smoothly in the opinion of your builder. So when you're selecting them, ask them that question. So when we're talking about costs on or running the project when it comes to smoothly, obviously, costs come into it, and sometimes and this is going to be a big if things are delayed because the finance on a project is being handled by the bank, and the bank puts delays on payments, that can definitely slow things down. So that could upset things being smooth. So be aware that sort of thing can happen, and things being smooth is going to be determined in a lot of ways by everybody that's involved. So it's not going to be a one-way affair on whether things are smooth or not. All right, so timelines. Timelines on projects, yes. Timelines on projects get blown out all the time, and we know that they do. So there's no getting around that issue with timelines. I wish it wasn't a case where the timelines weren't an issue and we could get trades, we could get supply, all this sort of thing when we need it. But unfortunately, it does change and we can't always get that. Insurances. Insurances are becoming an issue, as we've seen with builders disappearing over the last little while. We have seen that insurances weren't getting paid, weren't getting processed, and clients had paid deposits and insurances hadn't been supplied, hadn't been purchased by the builders. Big no-no. And it doesn't matter where you are in Australia, that is a big no-no. So definitely stay on top of the insurances on projects and ask for the insurances. Ask for proof, ask for certificates of currency. Do all that, because really, do you need it? Is it a problem? It's proven that it has, and there's going to be a massive crackdown on it. And I know when it comes to my projects, we definitely, under no circumstances, ask for any money until we do the statutory thing and provide the insurances to our clients. Contracts, one of the fun things. Contracts are quite large for building projects. And I'm just walking around here, and quality control thing, guys leaving the place dirty. But that's a small thing. While you're in a build, is the place clean? So that's a bit easier, standing up there. So contracts. When it comes to contracts, are you reading the contract? Do you know do you understand what is in a contract? I know a lot of people that they read a contract, but they don't necessarily understand it. Now, one of the things that I've noticed that a lot of guys don't actually do is go through the contract with their clients. They just send it out to them and then just tell them, hey, go and get your own advice about it, read through it. If you're happy with it, send it back, all that sort of thing. You really should be sitting down and going through all of that with your builder and whoever you're signing the contract with. Go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Make sure that they understand it and you understand it, and understand all these little terms, like one big one. And a lot of people don't know this one. If you're getting variations through the hilt and they equate to more than 15, or it gets to a greater area than 15% of the original contract price of the contract, you can terminate the contract. That is a fact. You can terminate the contract on the spot because it's term and it's clause in contract law that says that at 15% builder-driven variations, you're within your rights to terminate the contract. So that's when this is one of the things that has actually led to some of the issues over the last couple of years with price rises and all that sort of thing. Builders have been trying to claim all this extra thing, and owners are within their rights to say, no way, not going to happen. So be aware. That's a fun one when it comes to contracts, and going through contracts, make sure you understand it and you go through it with them. So make sure you do that. Management. This is the contract stuff comes into the management, because if the builder and yourself aren't on the same page when it comes to the management and making sure that things are being done, quality control stuff, back of house stuff with office admin, if they have office admin, depending on the size of the builder, all this sort of thing, the management needs to be at another level, very professional. And sadly, there's a lot of that doesn't go on. And every builder is a culprit of not having the right management in place, and being able to have all the systems and processes in place. And one of those things is definitely the systems and processes. Definitely ask them what their systems and processes are for making sure that things are being done on time, the quality control checklists are being done, all this sort of thing. Definitely ask them about that, because if they're doing their job right, they should have all that and they should be able to document it all. Management is documentation. So that also leads on to the next point, transparency. Is this a problem with the industry? I am hearing it more and more every day that transparency is an issue. And that's a concern. How much of a concern? I think that it comes back to an emotional concern for most homeowners. Everyone that I've spoken to about transparency, it has always been a feeling. And nobody wants that negative feeling. And when I talk about experiences during projects, I talk about the experience from the feeling point of view. And we want our clients to feel like they got a great experience and they got to experience something that wouldn't normally get anywhere else. So we talk about that sort of thing. And here I am, while I'm walking around, doing a bit of quality control. I might not document it, but quality control. So it's a bit of fun. But outsourcing. So here's a fun one. Could this be an issue, outsourcing? So when I talk about outsourcing, I might be talking about whether someone, whether a builder or yourself is engaging other professionals, like your architects, engineers. Now, most of the time, most companies aren't going to have an engineer in-house. They're not necessarily going to have an architect in-house, or the people that do your energy reports and geotech and all that sort of thing. They're all outsourced people doing that work. So when it comes to that, is that a problem? Sometimes it can be, and it depends if you're going to someone with your own outsourced professional, and then you're bringing in different teams together. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. Can it be a problem? Yes, it can be a problem, and we don't want it to be. So you just got to be really careful with that. Now, when it comes to other outsourcing, then we start talking about all the fun stuff with different trades, because at the end of the day, most trades are outsourced. Especially your electricians, plumbers, plasterers, all this sort of thing. Majority of the time, the builder is not going to have them specifically on the company payroll and employees. So be aware, outsourcing does happen. It's quite a lot. It's not necessarily a problem, but you can definitely find out if your builder has these good trades, if they have a high turnover of these trades as well. And look, there are times where there are high turnovers of trades. So be aware, with the last couple of years, there's been a high turnover of trades, and trades not sticking with certain builders. And then, of course, with builders disappearing as well, trades get a little bit more flexibility, not flexibility, but they get more ability to change and go, more freedom, more time and availability to be able to go and work for other builders. So that's one thing. It's a double-edged sword. It can go either way when it comes to that. So just be aware that, yes, it does go both ways. All right, fun ones. Down to the fun stuff on my little notepad. It's just a piece of paper. But yes, at what stage do you approach a builder? Some people might say that's not a problem, but depends who you're talking to. At what stage do you approach a builder? Well, my opinion as a builder, to be able to get the best outcome, my opinion is you should be speaking to a builder early. Not necessarily selecting your builder that's going to be doing the job, but speaking to a builder, and even if it's just in an advisory capacity, someone that you get along with, someone that you can trust, to be able to give you the best advice for what your project's going to be. So someone that's going to be able to point you in the right direction for some of those aforementioned outsourced subcontractors or professionals. Definitely have a chat with them, because they're going to have some options. Is it going to be best to speak to them early? Yes, that's one reason. But the other part is that they are going to really give you an idea for your costings. Now, I'm currently doing some projects where we're not even out on site, we're just having discussions about their design, making it work. And so we work with clients from very early on, and we discuss what's going to work with their design, what's going to work with their budget, how that's all going to work. Because sadly, and I think I've spoken about this one before in the basics of design in a previous podcast, where it has been that aspect of, okay, Are architects, draftspeople, engineers, all that sort of thing, really across the costings? Some will say that they are, and 9 times out of 10 when they say that, they are already outsourcing to get the costs. So they're going out to an external estimator. They don't have anybody in-house that's following the project as it's being designed to be able to give you an accurate costing right then and there, because they're not builders, they're not the ones dealing with the costs every day, they're not dealing with the price fluctuations that we are experiencing at the moment. So sometimes they will give you a guesstimation and hope that they're going to be able to design something, and architects are one of the biggest culprits for this, where they design something and because they haven't understood the costs or they haven't actually spoken to anybody about the costs, massive issues afterwards, and clients find out that they can't build the place because it costs too much. So be aware of that sort of thing. Approaching a builder, my opinion, early, and you will be able to get some really good outcomes. My opinion. Everybody's different though. So I've seen just about every way to do it. So I like to think that my opinion there is pretty valid. All right. Is a builder right for you? Pretty big question. Is a builder right for you? That's going to come down to your determination after asking them all the questions that you need to ask. So definitely ask the questions. Do you have all of these things in place? Are you capable of doing this? What's your capacity? Do we feel comfortable with this person? Do we feel we can trust them? Do we feel that they've given us all the right information? Do we feel all this sort of thing? Now, when I say feel, I mean it. Do you feel it? And that's one of the biggest things with building. It's a big feeling, because how much of a home is yours, and it's how you feel every day. So take all that into account. Is a builder right for you? Only you're going to know that. Builder's not going to know that, because the builders, most of the time, I mean, for myself, it is a case of, is this client going to be our type of client? Are we going to be able to work together? And is all the information that we're passing to each other going to be relevant? And are we all talking in the same language? That's what it is for me. And wow, I feel like my voice is disappearing now. So this last one, and I'm going to wrap it up after this. Are builders as professional as they should be? This is one big problem that we are seeing with the building industry. Are builders as professional as they should be? This has proven very much so, very relevant with all the builders going under over the last little while. Builders' professionalism is it on show the whole time? I don't think that it is. And do builders have bad names because of bad press from dickheads, pardon the French, dickheads making mistakes, stuffing up, trying to blame everybody else, but not taking responsibility for when they stuff up, people hiding behind companies' shells and all that sort of thing. And I just got wet from something. I don't think that's right. I think there's a few leaks in this place. That's not good. Lucky it's not my project. I'm not going to tell you whose project it is. But once again, quality control. It's a good thing. I might actually move from this because I wasn't expecting that. So, builders, are they as professional as they should be? Professionalism in the building industry, I feel there's a lot to be desired. So definitely, I think that this is something that we need to touch on a little bit more. To find out, at least to be able to develop a list or a checklist for finding out if your builders are professional and whether they're actually doing everything that they should be by the legislation, regulations, all that sort of thing for the builds, because we know that there are issues that happen. And here's a good one. Here's a great place. And if you've seen, there's a certain, and in Victoria, you would have seen him if you're doing anything building these days. There's a certain building inspector who goes out and he plasters stuff all over social media, and I see it. And I actually love it. I love the stuff that he does, because it is really bringing home to builders that they are not doing a great job and they're being unprofessional. And there's an area, and he talks about it a lot, waterproofing. And I've already had some stuff drip on my head. So waterproofing goes all the way up to there as well. If you've seen the video, you've seen me talk about tiled roof. And one thing that he might even look at is, should there be sarking on this roof because of the roof span and all that sort of thing? Because I don't have a tape with me, I can't check that. But I'm not going to. I'm not the building inspector. But as a professional builder, I should be checking that sort of thing. And I should know what the regulations are for all that sort of thing. And if you don't know, if the builder doesn't know, and you can ask them these questions, do you know all this information? Ask them, because they should know it and they should be able to give you an answer on the spot. And if a good professional person, not just a builder, they would also be able to give you the information and say, if they don't know the information or they don't have the knowledge for that, they should be upfront and say, hey, I don't know right now, but I will find out, or I will speak to the person who does know that information and be able to come back to you, and then that'll also give me greater knowledge to be able to help you. That's what they should be doing. But if they're not, massive red flag. So, should builders be more professional? Yes, I think that they should. Should they know all the information? Oh, there's a good one. Yep, we won't talk about that. The things you notice. Yeah, I hope that this has been enlightening. I would love it if you could like, subscribe, share, follow, all the good stuff, to be able to help us get a lot of this information out to everybody that really needs it. People like yourself, homeowners, you deserve to know all this information. You deserve to be able to get this information readily, easily, so that you can make sure that your building project is going to be completed the way that you want it to be, and be able to have those conversations with every builder. And I think I'll end it on this today. A lot of this is also relevant for owner builders. If you are building for yourself, more information that you have, the better. And if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, don't hesitate to send it through to me. I'll be able to get a response to you very quickly and want to be able to help you. So thanks again. My name's Hugh. This is the Builder's Office podcast for homeowners. Share it, like it, subscribe, all the good stuff. And I will see you next week with another great episode. Thanks a lot, guys. See you then.